All right, so we're going to review how you do this quiz with the irregular verbs and the imperfect because I've had some questions about it. So I want to remind you, and this was in the notes, there are only 3 verbs in the imperfect tense that are irregular. And those are the verb ser, which is era, eras, era, éramos, and eran. The verb ir, to go, which is iba, ibas, iba, íbamos, and iban. And the verb ver, which means to see, which is veía, veías, veía, veíamos, and veían, right? And if you don't have those written down, you need to go back and look for the notes on that because I did put those on Schoology. So you need to go through your notes, all right? So think about what the verb ser means. I was. The verb ir, which means to go, means I used to go or I went. And then ver would be to see, right? Because that's going to matter for this, all right? So if I look at this, the English translation is when I was a child. So looking at when I was a child, I know that it's a form of the verb ser. Okay? When I was a child, I used to play with dolls. So the yo form of ser is what's missing here, right? When I was a child. So that would be era. We used to go to Merida every summer. Well, remember that to go is ir. So it's going to be the nosotros form of ir in the imperfect. And if you don't put an accent on this one, it was in your notes, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? We used to go. Íbamos. For the third one, Emilia used to see the birds in the trees. Well, ver is the one that means to see, right? So we're going to need the imperfect form of ver that would work with Emilio. And in this case, it's the el or ella form because Emilio is a boy, right? So if you do not put the accent on the A, it is going to mark it wrong. When Felipe was a child. Okay, so I look at that was, and I know I'm looking for a form of the verb ser in the imperfect. All right. So when Felipe was a child, it's going to be era because Felipe is a boy, and we're going to use the el or ella form. All right. You all used to see the movies at the movie theater. So to see is ver, right? And I'm going to need the nosotros form. Veíais. Esther and Sheila were short. They were short. It's going to be a form of ser. So ser is I was or were, right? And the forms of ser again are era, eras, era, éramos, and eran. In this case, we have Esther and Sheila were. In other words, they were. So it would be eran. You used to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. All right, so to go, again, is the verb ir, right? And the tu form of ir in the imperfect is ibas. Miss Paloma used to be a nice person. La señorita Paloma. So used to be is ser, right? Ser means to be. And then in the imperfect tense, it would be I was, you were, he was, we were, they were. That's how you would do that in English. Well, used to be, it's going to be a form of ser. So señorita Paloma was, in other words, she was, right? Era. When they used to see scary movies, they had bad dreams. So when they used to see, right? And I talked about this with the imperfect. Used to is a way that we communicate the imperfect a lot of the time in English because we're trying to communicate that idea of something that happened repeatedly in the past, right? So, and in Spanish, we don't have to use a phrase used to, we just use this form of the verb. So when they used to see scary movies, they had bad dreams. So to see is ver, and it's they used to see, right? So I'm going to need the ellos form. All right, and then number 10, did you used to go to Florida during spring breaks? I know it's going to be a form of ir because to go is ir, right? Did you used to go? So it's the tu form. of ir in the preterite. And let me see if I got any of these wrong. Hopefully not. Nope, they're all right. So hopefully that helps.